Well, hello everybody. Welcome to P.B.M. Money. Today, I'm going to talk about something that just about every finance guy on YouTube talks about. That doesn't mean I shouldn't do it, just means I'm going to do one too. Now, I'll tell you what, I do a lot to do with credit scores. The couple of people that I teach, I watch mine really closely for credit cards and for applying for loans. It's very important that your credit score and you understand how your credit score works. So today I'm going to go over some things, and the first one I'm going to talk about is the credit rating groupings. Good, better, best. So if you want to know these, get a pen and get ready to write them down, because I didn't know what the cutoff points were. I had a general idea, but I had no idea. Okay, so the first one, if your credit score is between 300 and 579, that is considered poor. You will not get credit cards based on that. Maybe a secured credit card, but even then they're going to want guarantees. If your credit score is between 580 and 669, that would be considered fair. And I can tell you right now that the vast majority of people fall in that category. And you're doing yourself no favors by being in that category. One of the young men that I'm teaching right now is in that category. The next category is called good. It's between 670 and 739. And the young lady that I was teaching, hers is at 680 something, and she's getting all the credit cards she wants. Okay? So minimum 670 is where you need to be. Very good is between 740 and 799. And exceptional is between 800 and 850. 850 is considered the perfect score. Now the one that we're talking about now is called FICO 8. That's the measuring that they use. If you go online to Credit Karma or Credit Sesame or Experian, they all use what's called FICO 3. Now, I used to know the difference. I do not now, but I do know this. The relationship between FICO 3 and FICO 8 is about 50 points. So as an example, if you go to Credit Karma and they tell you that your credit score is 800, on FICO 8 it's probably around 750. Okay? 50-point difference. Alright. I've never heard that one explained by anybody on YouTube before. They just assumed that you would know that. So, Alright, now your credit score is not what everybody thinks it is. Everybody thinks it's just based on how you pay your bills. And that's only one part of it. Again, if you want to write this down, get a pen. There are 5 different aspects to your credit rating that the credit company looks for, and they give each one of the 5 a different weight, and I'm going to cover those for you. Now the number one is, of course, how you your payment history. Do you make your payments on time? Are you late? And that's 35% of your score. 35% out of 100% is based on how you pay your bills. Now, it is the largest percentage, but it is not by far the majority percentage, okay? But how you pay your bills is important. And one of the rules that I have for my credit is to pay off my credit cards each and every month. Do not carry a balance. And that will keep that payment history. And even when I was carrying a balance, you got to make your payments on time every month. Now the next one is called amounts owed, also known as utilization. Now there are a couple of rules for utilization. And this is 30% of your credit score. So these first two make up 65% of your credit score. So these are the two you need to pay attention to the biggest. And utilization is a big one. Utilization means how much credit do you use based on how much you have. And I'm going to use small numbers to make it easy, okay? So let's say you have a credit card that has $1,000 on it. The credit card companies want you to keep that to 30% or less. So that means if you've got a credit card that's got a $1,000 credit limit, don't go over $300. All right? If, however, you have less than 10%, that's outstanding. All right? So if you want to have an outstanding utilization, you need to keep that number under 10%. So if you've got 5 credit cards that have $1,000 on each one, that's $5,000 total. All right, are you with me? That means you should have no more than $500 balance on your credit cards. Now, I want to explain something to you. That does not mean you can't charge more than $500. That just means when they report to the credit bureau, the balance on your card cannot be higher than $500. You say, well, how do you change that? Well, you automate your payments through the credit card company because they will go into your account and pay that credit card off in full from your checking account the day before they report to the credit bureau. And I would utilize that because that'll keep your rating up high. So even if you charge right up to $1,000, as long as you pay it before they report, it's going to show a zero balance, and that's what's important. Keep that utilization down. If you just want to be in good standing with the credit card companies, keep it below 30%. If you want a chance to have a really good credit rating, keep it below 10%. Okay? Now the next one is called the length of credit. And this one's 15%. This is the next biggest category. And I'll tell you why this is important. If somebody could come in and just pay their bills on time for 6 months and keep their utilization 0, and that was the only 2 categories, then you could get 800 score pretty darn easy. But because they made the length of the credit history 15%, is because that will encourage you to do it over time. As an example, that's why a lot of credit card companies go after college students, because college students have an emotional tie to the first credit card and they will take care of that one. And so what I'm saying is the length of time that you have it. So if you have a credit card for 1 year, that's good, but that doesn't mean much. But if you have one that you've had for 10 or 15 years, that means something. Okay? And the longer you have it, the more weight it carries, because if you have one for 15 years and then you get one today, that cuts the length of your credit card down to 7.5 years. You see? So the more credit cards you get when you're young and you're able to keep in good standing, that way when you get to be older, this will be a bigger number for you. This will be a big anchor. People that try to get into credit cards and get a lot of credit cards really soon, this number is very, very low. And it's 15% of your score, so it pulls your score down. So you have to be very careful when it comes to the length of time on your credit card. Now the next 2 are, each one are 10% of your credit score. So together they're 20% of your credit score. And the first one I want to talk about is your credit mix. Credit mix. So if all you have is credit cards on your credit bureau, I mean, good for you. But the message that sends is you don't know how to handle a car loan or a house loan or an installment loan of any type. or personal loan. There are all kinds of loans out there, and the better mix you have to the credit companies, credit card companies, the more of those that you have mixed in, the better your credit rating looks. Because they're looking at it and saying, oh wow, look at his. He's got a personal loan that he pays off. He's got 3 credit cards. He's got a house loan. He's got 2 car loans. And he's doing just fine. That's important. And that's 10% of your credit score. Now the last 10% is new credit. And this is where even experienced credit card people get dinged. Because every time you apply for a loan, they do what's called a hard pull on your credit bureau. And that means that the name of the borrower, ABC Bank, shows up and says, hey, ABC Bank pulled a credit report on this guy because he's looking to get a credit card or a loan or a bank or whatever. So that means that if tomorrow you go to a credit card and they come and do a hard pull, now that you got 2 hard pulls. So people that do credit cards forget how long it's been between cards. Now, does it last forever? No. But if you do 2 of them a month, that's going to be a problem. All right? That's why it's recommended that if you know you're going to go look for a car loan or a house loan, for 6 or 8 months before that happens, don't apply for any other loans anywhere at any time or type. Just keep, so there's no hard pulls on your credit bureau. Now, having said that, I want to say a little thing here for Capital One. They have started a thing where they do a soft pull, which does not show up on your credit bureau. And then they will use the soft pull to see if you will qualify for the card. If you qualify, then they will go in and do the hard pull. I still to this day don't understand why it has to be a hard pull for a credit card. I understand it for a bank, I understand it for a personal loan, for a car loan, but I do not understand that for a credit card. Why is a hard pull necessary? Anyway, so the 5 categories and the 5 percentages are: your payment history is number 1 at 35%. Your utilization is number 2 at 30%. The length of time that you've had credit is the next one, that's 15%. And then the last 2 are each 10% of your credit score, and that's the mix of your credit score or mix of your credit types and how much new credit you've gotten in the last year or so. So even if you make $10,000 a week, if you get 5 inquiries every week, that's going to ding your credit score. All right? And even if you get the credit cards, you still have 5 new credit cards that are going to lower your length of credit. So your credit score is a complex thing. It's an important thing in spite of what Dave Ramsey teaches. And just a little hint here, do not ever close a credit card. Pay it off, throw it in a drawer, use it once a year, but keep it active. If it does nothing else for you, the longer you have it, the more it will help your credit score because it will become a long-term card. There is a card that I've got that I've had for 20 years and I haven't used it but 5 times. And it's still active. They're trying to talk me out of it. Of course they are. But I'm not going to get rid of it because they wanted to upgrade me to a different card. Well, if I do that, then I have to close that one, and I'm not doing that because of my credit bureau. Well, there's the overlook at your FICO 8 credit score, what the ranges are, what the categories are, and what the percentages are. You have a great day, a great week, and happy investing.